Hey man, we back again. I was hoping to debut the new studio. It's kind of halfway there. Y'all kind of can see that my setup is a little different, but had a little bit of technical difficulties. You hear me? So we back. Grounded Show episode 72. Back with the full lineup. My dog Joe is officially back in the O. You heard me?
Finally, The Rock has come back to the O. I'm officially Orlando resident, man. Feels good to be back. Feels
Yeah.
good to be back, bruh. So it was a long trip, a long list of things to do, but it was done. Everything checked off. Now I'm here, waiting for the cars, waiting for my stuff in, and I'm happy to be back, though. That's for sure.
So you're pretty much born and raised in Orlando, and then you moved out to Vegas for 3 years, and you're coming back. Like you saying how happy you are. Like, did you feel like it was time? Like, were you ready to come back? Like, what was the feeling
Yeah,
there?
it was actually. I grew up on the West Coast. I grew up in California, Bay Area until I was 10. But since I was 10 years old, I moved here to the East Side, and I spent 36 years of my life here in the
Mm.
same 5 mile radius. Elementary school, middle school, high school, college, my jobs, all right here, right around UCF. So I never went anywhere. And then, wifey's parents were living in Vegas. I was working remote. It was COVID. And I was like, yo, let me just go out there and see what's good, see if I can work out there. And then it was just such a easy thing to just transition. I said, fuck it. But which
Mm-hmm.
is crazy because when we moved here in '94, we drove here from Cali with all our stuff in a trailer in a little Chevy Corsica sedan, and it was a hell of a troop where we broke down in a couple states because the car overheated, but it
Damn.
was a troop. So when I moved over there, my parents didn't want me to drive or anything, so I got everything shipped. So the same thing, I shipped everything back, but I can tell you right now, that's it. I'm never moving across the country again, bro. Ever. My wife's like, what if one day we move back? I say, hey, you on your own, chief. I'm gonna stay over here. Uh, it's a lot of work to move across the country, man. And I'm grateful for the experience, though. Like I said, I've always wanted to live somewhere else. I never had the balls to do it. Super thankful for her and the opportunity I had, but there's nothing, absolutely nothing like being here, being around my people, being around my fam. Um, Feels like I never left. Like I went golfing earlier with the fellas, and it's crazy how 3 years ago it was my last time golfing with them before I moved,
Mm.
and here we are 3 years later, the first golf session of many to come, and it was like a blink of an eye, but during it, it felt like forever, and it's crazy how life is and how time passes and how quick it is and how much it changed me, but that's the kind of things that I will continue to say build character, and I think it changed me for the best. It was something that was needed. I needed to leave here for a while, and now that I'm back, I get to start over how I want and rewrite my story here and start it from scratch, and everybody gets to see how it's going to turn out. So it was all around life changing experience for sure.
Something that we were talking about before, and it was kind of based off of what you were saying in the group chat, where it was like when you do something like this, it's almost impossible for it not to be a huge change, like not even just physically. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of like you said, across country, the change that it does to your body, you're in a different part of the map. Like there's like a lot of other little factors working in there where it's like the situation that you're coming into is like a monumental thing just based off the circumstances, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, hundred
No,
percent.
100%. Like each time, because like y'all know, I've come here a lot to visit and for work while I lived out there. And my mentality with everything involved was that I have a limited amount of time here. I'm consistently worrying about getting back, and now that's completely gone. You know, I'm here forever, pretty much. And I'm not, in the back of my head, it's like, all right, when do I have to go back, fly home, and get back to my shit? Like my shit's here. So
Mhm.
my whole mind state of me being here is completely different than it's been for 4 years since when I lived here before. And getting back to that, it's like I live here. So it's like we needed like a sponge or soap or this and that. And my wife's like, oh, we didn't have. I was like, let's go buy it because we don't have to fly home with it. We're
Mhm.
gonna keep it here because we live here. And it's like everything we're missing, we can just go buy. It's not like, oh, let's not waste money on something because we have it back home. It's like, nah,
Mhm.
that we are home. Let's go buy what we need because we're here and we need to establish it here. And it's just a completely different mindset that I have not been in years. And at this age and at this point in my life where I think like this and process thoughts like this, I've never done this before. And I lived here and I've been here and I visited, but I have never had to think like this ever, especially with a wife here and living here. So it's completely new to me, despite it being where I lived for 26 years. It's just, it's almost like Lester says, when there's a lot of stuff I don't sit and think about, but this is something I sit and think about, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like,
Mhm.
I just consistently like just sit there and kind of days off. I'm like, wow, this is something I've never done before, and but I'm excited about it. We're both excited about it. We're both looking forward to it, and we're just kind of anxious to see how it's all going to turn out and how our life is going to be. But we're positive and we're excited, so it's a good thing. But it's different. It's like I said, it's something brand new to me, despite it being something I'm used to.
Yo, Quincy, how does that hit you, particularly from the point of view of like you're kind of young in the process that Joe just completed? You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
he moved somewhere new, was out there for a while, then moved back. You're kind of young in that process of like you move somewhere new, establishing your life out there. Like so,
Mhm.
like how do you react to what he says, and how does it kind of like relate to like the stage you're at in your situation?
I think it's dope to see. I know, like for me, one of the things that I, have battled internally is like, even when I've had those conversations with Joe, it's like, he's going back to, you know, a comfortable place as far as just his relationships. He was able to get up this morning and go play golf with his old homies. You know what I'm saying? It's like I personally battle with that now, being where I'm at, where it's like all my homies are in Orlando. You know what I'm saying? But then on the other side of it, it's like, I know for me when I took my road trip back in 2016, 2017, that was like my eye-opening experience where it was like, I
Yo,
do
you
need to
cutting
kind
in
of.
and out.
Can you hear me?
I mean, we could hear you. You just cutting in and out.
That's
It sounds like you on a merry-go-round, and then you're like,
um well, basically, like, for me, like, when I went on that road trip, it really showed me like, hey, there's more to life than Orlando. You know what I'm saying? Is it still doing it?
no, no, you good now.
Oh, okay. There was more to life than Orlando. So like, me being on the front end of that journey is like, just trying to kind of figure that out. You know what I'm saying? Because the easy route would have been to just kind of stay. You know what I'm saying? But it's like let me kind of see what's out here, and if I want to come back, I'll come back. But I think it's dope that you had that experience. You know what I'm saying? And you were able to kind of make that decision where it was like, I lived in Vegas. I did everything you can do in Vegas and enjoyed it, and like I had that life experience and I'm coming back to Orlando where I'm, more comfortable and where my people are and where I know that I'll have a better quality of life from that standpoint. That's dope. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you had that experience. So it's like no one can say anything about you coming back. You know what I mean? It's like I went out, I lived, and I decided this is where I want to be. Okay, cool.
I always think about that concept always from the point of view of like my boy Kevin that went to the Navy like right after high school. You know what I mean? I
Hmm.
think about so many people that do stuff like that, and kind of like what Joe said. That's exactly what I wanted to get to. Was like you kind of come back and everything is like right where you left it. You pick
Hmm.
up right where you left off. Like it's like the routine is always going to be there. You know what I mean? And if you're finding a way to thrive in the routine and you don't crave that change, do your thing. But some people, you know what I mean? You gotta experience other places. You gotta confirm to yourself that this is the place where you need to be, and it's taking that leap. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you take that leap. It's how I always approach like anything that I do, as far as like even if I don't feel like I'm up to it, certain times, like for example, recording, skateboarding, anything, I'm gonna always try to take something away from it, even if it's knowing how not to do it. You know what I mean? So it's like, unless you know, you got to double your failures to double your successes. You know what I mean? There's no way that if you're not trying shit and not exploring different options and seeing what works for you, what don't work for you, where you thrive at, where you don't thrive at. And it's like factoring all that stuff together to try to make the most informed decision to, you know, be as happy as you can be. And it's like, that's like a part of like being in relationships, like not even just with a spouse, but like just in general, that I kind of feel like is like one very noticeable thing about certain people that don't have too many healthy relationships. They always try to like make their people around them live a life like in line with what they're in line with. You know what I mean? It's like, and they just don't want to understand that you live a different way. You know what I mean?
That that's something big, bro. That's something big that I discussed with one of my close friends, and it's like, if the person I left when I went to Vegas is nothing who I am today. So if we haven't really talked or hung out in the last 3 years, I feel like you don't know me anymore. You know, for those who I really haven't kept up with me, who haven't really know what's going on, like, and they think I'm coming back as that person who left in 2019, 2020. It's like, that's not me, bro. And there's a lot of people who are not gonna like that. And I don't know how to tell people that, like, respectfully, like, there's no obligations for me to, if we haven't seen each other or talked in the last 3 years, there's no obligation for me to see you or talk to you in the next 3 years while I'm here. I've grown, I've changed mentally. My priorities, the way I acted, you know, and it's different, and I'm not that person anymore. And I think that's one of my barriers that I'm actually going to have to deal with the most, is just saying no to people. And I don't feel like I had to explain myself and not doing the shit I used to do before. And that's one of the biggest transitions I'm going to have to make, because I've changed, and that these last 3 years changed me so much that I give a fuck less about how people feel who aren't in my circle and don't care anymore. And it's that's something I think about a lot too. Like, I'm not that same person, man. Like, that those 3 years changed me a lot, and for the best, for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I
But it's
think?
something
Oh, go
that
ahead.
I'm
I'm
gonna
sorry.
have transition to. No, it's just something I'm gonna have transition to while I'm here, for sure.
What I was gonna say is, you know what I think is the dopest thing about like actually being away for a little while? Because for me, it's been about almost 2 years now since I've been out of Orlando. And you know, just kind of going to your point of like those people that you haven't really communicated with since you've been away. It's like, you know, I see that as situational relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, my proximity of me being in that area or us being around each other for whatever reason is why we had a relationship. And then once I left, there was really not much more there. You know what I'm saying? And it's like actually being able to step away and give yourself that space gives you that clarity. You know what I'm saying, on what relationships to prioritize and what relationships to, you know, keep where they are. And I think that's kind of one of the most refreshing things, that like, you know, how you just spoke about it. Like if I was to go back to Orlando, I know there's some relationships where, you know, it just wouldn't be the same, because it's like it didn't, you know what I'm saying? It didn't last when I wasn't here. So why would I, you know, prioritize it when I'm here, you know?
Yeah. I always feel like it's like one of those things that as you continue to like value life more and you continue to prioritize your life more, just things just fall by the wayside. And if our paths don't cross, our paths don't cross. And it is what it is. You know what I mean? That's kind of just how I deal with it myself. Like, I don't think it's anything that I'm doing wrong. I don't think it's anything you doing wrong. It's just if our paths don't cross, our paths don't cross. We're not all. It's kind of like I said, like we're not. When you mess with somebody, it's like that you accept them for what they are and what they do, and your lives intersect at those opportunities where it can intersect. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a different space that somebody can't intersect with what you on, then that's just it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's one thing I talked about today, golfing with the homies. It's like, despite me living in Vegas for the last 3 years, like for example, you guys have met my wife multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, despite me living in Vegas, despite you living in Atlanta. So if I've been known her for 4 years, married for 3 years, and you've never met her, and we haven't hung out in like 6-7 years, why would I just bring you into my life? Like, what obligation do I have? And I think a lot of people do that, and they set themselves up for stress, and like they overwhelm themselves, people pleasing, and it's like I'm not doing that. That's something that I really want to focus on not doing. Coming back to something I spoke to my wife about, it's like I really want to be smart about anybody new I bring into my life, because everybody who's in my life, she's met personally, face to face, multiple times, and I'm not going to bring in someone out of nowhere just because we were used to be cool back in the day. And that's a balance. That's probably my biggest balance coming back for sure.
Yeah, that's a big thing, man. That people pleasing and just kind of letting that go, like in general with everybody, is like just always gonna be such a huge relief, because you get into this cycle and everybody gets it, with certain people where they just want to be don't want to be the bad guy so much that you end up being the bad guy to yourself without really even noticing. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden you're the one that's suffering at every turn because you're trying to make sure everybody else is straight. And it's like nobody even told you to do that. You know what I'm saying? Some people, we just take these tasks on ourselves, and then internally you mad at people for not appreciating what you're doing, when it's like they never asked for you to do that anyway. You know what I mean? And it's like that's why like it's so important to connect with the people that have that same kind of value that you have. Because if you see that somebody is not on the same type of time you on, you just gotta accept it and move accordingly. Like, oh, okay, you're not my type of person. It don't mean you bad. It don't mean I'm bad. You're just not my type of person. It don't mean we not cool. It don't mean there's an issue. You just not my type of person. It's just that simple.
Right. Shoes. Hey man, speaking of people pleasing, how did my dog say 30 years ago the South got something to say and dropped an album and didn't say a single word? He ain't please me. No, I'm just playing. That album was pretty dope. I'm not even gonna flex with you.
So I was reading online, like some producer pages and stuff, and they're all basically saying, well, all he did was drop a loop pack for the producers. All the next beats that's gonna be coming out the next couple of months is gonna be Andre 3000 flute samples, bro.
Facts. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a perfect segue to it, though, and I think that's it. He's at his point in my life where he's not 3 stacks no more.
Mm-hmm.
He can't get back to that, and this is who he is, and he's putting something out, hoping that whoever accepts it. But this is who he is. Like I seen some that he said he can't rap like he was an Outkast ever again because he's not that person no more. Did you guys see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean, just from the interview that I saw, it was I'm glad he did that interview, and even with him doing that interview, he basically said in the interview that like, I don't even really want to do this, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I kind of got to, because like, this is part of presenting the music. You know what I mean? He's like, if it was up to me, and he even stated, he was like, I got anonymous flute samples out there right now that's under a different name that nobody even knows it's me. And there's in some of your favorite songs, but I just told him to keep it anonymous. You know what I mean? And so it's like, when you kind of take all
the
that
mask
shit,
off was him.
that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, that gotta be him on Mask Off, bro.
No, that was a sample. That was a sample.
Oh, okay,
No,
okay.
He said it was him. Who was it? No ID. Who was that?
I don't know. The Mask Off sample was like an
produced that?
old song. Or
But who was it that produced that song?
Was it
They
Metro?
came out and said that it was him, but you don't know, allegedly.
But at the same time, it was a sample, but maybe they had him replay it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they'll have you replay it so they don't have to pay the royalties and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that it could have been him. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, but
Man, I'm just kind of like fascinated with how like it's like it's almost like I I just like seeing him work through it because he's like so tormented about it. I feel like, you know what I mean, and that's the
Mhm.
part that in like every interview that I see of Andre 3000 is the part that's always super intriguing to me. It's like just kind of getting in his mind of like as a creative, as somebody that has put out masterpieces, where his headspace is as far as like creating in the form that like really like his first love. You know what I'm saying? The music, like it's just like as an artist, bro, it's super fascinating to me, man.
yeah, no, I agree. And I will be the one to say I was talking hella junk about when I found out about the Flute album, but I did give it a listen, and it's actually pretty nice. It's like I read online somewhere that somebody said it was a nice cleanse from what we've been listening to. And I was like, man, that's a great way to put it because it was just super like refreshing. And then on top of that, most people expecting or looking for some kind of hip hop from Andre 3000 and hearing what they got, it was like not just surprising, but almost like a Wusa moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a therapeutic sound, and it's like
Mhm.
just having people check it out puts them in a different kind of mind state. It settles your mind in a certain way as opposed to listening to hip hop. You know what I mean? And it's definitely a different kind of vibe that he's trying to bring. You know what I mean? And that's like I was saying, that's the interesting part to me is like trying to kind of figure out like where he's thinking as far as what he's thinking as far as like creating and what's next for him creating wise is, and thinking about what he can do like to satisfy us and his own artistic vision. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because like even in that interview, he was saying like, what I'm gonna talk about, like having to go get checked out at the doctor and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like I'm old, whatever. It's like, bruh, Andre 3000 talking about growing up, dog. Like that would be my bag right now.
Facts.
You know
Big
what I'm
facts.
saying? Like some grown man Andre 3000, like dog, I will be riding to that all day long. Like that's what I like about J. Cole. You know what I mean? Like his music matures with him, and
Mhm.
like like I tell a lot of like young dudes that I know, like you ain't lived enough for this yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
they're in a different stage. Like when you in your early 20s, mid 20s, like a lot of that J. Cole ain't gonna hit like it's gonna hit later because he's coming from like a real life experience standpoint. You know what I'm saying? He's an older dude too, dropping this music.
Mhm.
And if
Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, if anybody could make some old man rap, it's Andre 3000, bro.
I mean, yeah, his level of storytelling is ridiculous. But what I was gonna say was I didn't know until I saw that interview that Speaker Box The Love Below is the highest selling rap album of all time. I didn't know that. And so to go from that
I didn't
to
know that either. Damn.
yeah, to go from that to being able to basically walk around and play a flute, like real talk, like what I mean, that's impressive within itself. Where it's like people recognize him, but he's been gone so long that they're like, is that you know what I mean? And for him, like if I'm just kind of comparing it to the Joe thing, you know what I'm saying? Like you come back 4 or 5 years later, you're not on the same thing. You don't care about the stats. You know what I'm saying? I'm here with my wife. I want peace. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like it's really, really dope to kind of see that growth and maturity in him. You know what I'm saying? As an artist.
And accepting it. He's not putting it out to regain his old fans, to regain that love and admiration people have for Three Stacks when he was, like that. He doesn't care about that. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I am. This is what I'm putting up now. Probably could care less of the sales and the awards and the accolades. I bet he feels great that he was able to put something out that he loves, and that's it, and that's where it ends. And he's himself, and he's true to himself. That's a dope thing to grasp as you get older. All around in life, man, everybody needs to reach that point where they're just doing it for themselves. A
Yeah.
lot of people still are not doing that. That are older than him or at his age or getting there. You know, they don't do it for themselves. They do it for everybody else but themselves. That's something to grasp. That's something good to live by.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man, because like that's a perfect transition to the next topic. Because you got somebody like Andre 3000 that's in this, late 40s, early 50s age range, a hip hop person that we've grown up with, a crucial part of that golden era, 90s, 2000s. And he went in that direction of peace. He kind of stepped away from the limelight and everything. And then you got somebody that was popping at the same time in Diddy that was just on a whole other type of time, man. Like we've all heard like all different like Diddy rumors that always go around, but somehow these rumors are new, bruh. Like the stuff that, I mean, and it's not a rumor, it's an allegation. So these allegations from Cassie, bro, these are things that like, as far as like hip hop circles and just like general knowledge of the public and people that keep up with hip hop like that, like these are things that nobody really knew about. You know what I'm saying? Blowing up Kid Cudi's car allegedly.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's give a quick rundown of some of the allegations that are.
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. Matter of fact, give me 1 second.
It started with Cassie, right?
Yeah, it was Cassie, which is a bad boy artist. You know, everybody, if you follow music, you definitely know who Cassie is and Diddy, and they were kind of like a thing for like 10 years or so. But
a while.
It's definitely crazy. I'm about to pull it up right here.
While we get into that, you know what's kind of funny? Before any of this came out, his new album, how he changed his name to like Love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love something.
Yep, just Love, Brother Love, I think, or just Love.
Brother Love. When I actually listened to this album, I felt like I was listening to like Life After Death. Like he was like kind of saying his goodbye, like his exit. And I thought, okay, maybe it might be his exit from the game because he's been doing so much. But now that I think about it, it's like maybe he knew the time was coming, like with the Tupac allegations. That's where it started. The Tupac allegations and the Cassie allegations. And like there's a song he's like, try to find love in the pieces of me that's left, something like that. Like it's like there's nothing left in Diddy no more. Like he's like, I'm done. This is it. And that's how I listened to it before I heard anything. And then this comes out and it's like, it kind of just sums up. Like, I think he knew the end was coming.
Yeah, it's definitely like you said, even like during his rollout, it was kind of like he was trying to like collect his flowers type thing. You know what I mean? Like, and like you said, like one last hurrah type vibe. And the main thing that I wanted to say about it is, and actually, just to bring up some of the allegations, and of course these are just allegations. They ended up settling the suit, which was a civil suit, so it wasn't criminal anyway. But basically she said that he would force her to have sex with male prostitutes while he watched and videotaped it, that he would beat her, that whenever he would find out that she was like, she would leave him or talk to somebody else, he would go stalk her, just saying that he would beat her to the point where she would have to like stay in a hotel for a week to like recover. I mean, it's like a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And the wildest thing to me is all these quote unquote industry insiders that want to have like this kind of thing where they come out and say, oh, like we been knew that, or like now these little stories are coming out, and it's like, okay, so you're just basically coming out and saying you a coward. You know what I'm saying? Because what does it benefit anybody for you to bring this up now when you could have said something when you seen it, or you know what I'm saying, whatever the situation is? And it's like it's that music industry stuff. Diddy, somebody that's a powerful person in the music, he's in touch with those top 5 people that you need to know in music that just make or break if your project is successful or not. If he ain't messing with you, nobody's messing with you. And at the end of the day, people not going to give up their personal gain and the dream that they trying to live or whatever for something like that. And to me, this is real crazy. That's why, like, somebody like me, when it comes to the industry side, I try to stay away from that as much as possible, because there's a way to make it in music in a different lane. And it's even like tying back to the Andre 3000 thing. He did what he loved. He put it out. It's going to do what it does, and he's going to make some money off of it. People are going to sample it. He's going to make money clearing samples. He's going to make money on with the streams. People are going to start adopting it in their probably yoga classes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That thing is going to become a mainstay in the culture anyway, just because of what it is. And there's value in music like that. Like, people don't think about it, but some dope background music, bro, there's so many uses to that those songs get mad streamed, but you don't think about it as a stream because it's not a song to you. You know what I mean? So it's just it's crazy, like, the angle you could take. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could try to conquer the world and lose your soul in you know, so to speak, or you take the Andre 3000 route where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna choose this piece.
Yeah, I mean, from the standpoint of the whole Diddy situation, man, I feel like it was kind of like a bubbling up. You know what I mean? Like, everybody kind of saw random allegations coming out here and there, and then, obviously that those allegations from Cassie was kind of just like the nail in the coffin, and even the speed at which he settled was kind of like, ooh, that don't look good. You know what I mean? Like, that looks really bad. Um, but I mean, again, going to what you said, he went down a totally different path, stayed in the limelight. He chose the I guess the money and fame route over the peaceful route. And I mean, he's where he is, and ultimately, who's richer in the
If
end?
if if this all if it happens to come out, or if it did come out as it was all true, would it affect any way you were a fan of Diddy? And because I could think about it, I don't really listen to Diddy music. I listen to Bad Boy music.
Mm,
I don't think it would affect anything of how I live today. Like when R. Kelly shit happened,
mhm.
or when Chris Brown stuff happened. Like, if it happened with Diddy, I don't think it would change anything, or I really wouldn't care
Yeah, I
as
think the
far as.
only thing that I had that Diddy wise in my library, because I looked it up, was the Usher song, I Don't Know, from like one of his first albums. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I didn't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just even curious, kind of like you were saying, like, is there
I
even
forgot that was
anything
Diddy produced.
Diddy?
That's a track.
Yep.
Yeah,
That was
I
like, that
don't,
was the only thing.
I don't think it would affect that aspect of it. I think for for anything, or it would really just affect his legacy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, let's be real, bro. If it wasn't for, like, even with all of the random allegations that Michael Jackson had, you know what I'm saying, he's still the GOAT. But it did kind of
It
tarnish
tarnished it
the,
for a lot
you
of
know what I'm
people. Yep.
saying? Exactly. So that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, man. But it's about that time, man. We about to get to wrapping up. Gonna cut it a little short this week than we've been doing usually. It's still like the same amount of time that we used to do, but lately we've been running a little long. I mean, let us know if y'all like them shorter or longer, hey, yo. But either way, by next week, we're all gonna be set up like 100%, ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Joe's in town.
Yes,
I'm real
sir.
excited about just having the opportunity to link up creatively, like what kind of we were talking about earlier, man. Like, just being like with the 100,000 thing, like just being able to create and enjoy creating, dog. Like, that's all the goal is. You know what I'm saying? As far as like somebody that's into the arts, you know what I mean? And as long as you can do that, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and that's my main thing, man. Coming back to tap in to continuously be creative, and something that I let go way before I left to Vegas, and I tapped back into it. I was out there. Thankful for y'all. Thankful for everybody around me who supported it. Not leaving that, and now being closer to Lester, being closer to my boy Gary, being closer to Unc, being closer to Quincy. Even now, when he takes a drive down and visits, and around all my people who are creative, and we can just continuously just keep me in that mind state. I'm super grateful for that, and that's another plus, and that's another change that I want to keep with me for sure while I'm here.
Yeah, man. But real quick, like on some low key shit, man. Like that's like the way you make something real. Like that's the way you make something real special happen. Is when you have a group of people that are like locked in with the same kind of mentality and just like they're all just in that right mindset slash right time of their life, like to make some real stuff happen. You know what I mean? Like that's like the lightning in the bottle that like makes or breaks like the specialness of like what people got going on. I feel like, you know what I mean? I always feel like whenever you listen to the story of how somebody made it, like no matter what you're talking about, they had a nice support system of all people that were excellent. You know what I mean? And it's hard to find them people, bro, because like everybody not excellent. You know what I mean? But it's dope, like starting to like put all them pieces together. And like Joe was even saying, he's coming back thinking a different way, moving a different way, making sure everything is in line with what he's trying to do. Quincy's on the same time, where everything he's doing is to build the future, to make everything better for him down the line. Everybody just thinking the same way and trying to build the same way. That's like the key to like making something special that lasts. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
28 episodes away from 100. In between there, I think we need to have an Atlanta episode. We definitely gonna have episode at Lester's. Once I get my shit set up, Quincy's in town. We have an episode in my spot.
Oh, that'll be fire.
Hey, we gonna do a lot more, man. We're gonna do a lot more. It's gonna be a good thing. We got some collabs coming. We got a lot of shit happening, rolling up, man, and it's gonna be good. There's a lot more involvement. Man, I'm just ready to jump into it.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to for either one of y'all to pull up, because like the way I set up my spot now, like I rearranged the whole studio and it's just pretty much set up like to create, you know what I'm saying? Content, music, anything, bro. Like even just the way I set up the couch now and the way it's set up, like you can set up the camera and it just looks perfect. Like everything is just optimal. I was just talking to Freddie before we got on the pod, and I was like, bro, this year my mentality is output. I'm trying to create. I'm trying to put out as much as I can from every aspect so I can have as much come back as I can. You know what I mean? Like I'm just focused on that this year. And it's like, that's the goal that I've been on, like this producing journey, the mixing journey, the salon journey, the shop journey. Like everything is just all coming together to just be able to produce, like I said. And at the end of the day, bro, you can't double your success if you don't double your failure. So I've been through the failures, man. Now it's time to make that flip. You heard me?
Yes, sir.
Stay butter.